Most Venerable Mahasangha, the Bhikkhunis, Dhamma friends of the service of the Buddha, and the colleagues. As a layperson, I have noted that our society needs guidance. All the laypersons include the rulers, the officials mainly. The peasants, of course, the common people have to face either happiness or unhappiness because of what is happening outside. Because lay people have not really got the chance to develop the mind the way the Buddha has taught. So as Buddhists, perhaps we can, through this kind of discussions, get people to take a revisit of some of the teachings and find some solace, I would say, and face this situation and overcome the problems. So firstly, I thought that, as Dr. Manori mentioned, I have been in government for many years and retired 10 years ago. I find that my work involved development, economic development. At that time, it was called socio-economic development. But now we hear mostly economic development, which focuses mainly on supply of goods and services. During our time, we gave priority to the distribution of wealth among the common people. So majority of the people should enjoy the benefits of the fruits of development. So, but now waiting for changes in our country by some youth struggling for success of their life, we find that as adults we have a duty to perform, especially creating awareness in the Buddhist way through the Buddhist suttas. So I first thought that Kutadanta Sutta has some relevance because it has a past story Buddha citing to one of the learned persons who was a teacher, Kutadanta. I want to get my PowerPoint presentation. Before coming to the PowerPoint, this Kutadanta Sutta is again listed in the Digha Nikaya in the Sila Kanda section. That is the first section where Sila is analyzed, classified, and discussed in many different ways. The Sila is the morality in English, also the moral virtues or the conduct of life according to some accepted norms and practices. Here in Kutadanta, we find most of the suttas cover public domain. They are not mainly involved with the bhikkhus who really learned from the Buddha how to develop their mind to gain higher states in mental development. In this sutta, Buddha speaks to Brahmins, teachers, the kings, and the relevant officials. The English translation of this Kutadanta Sutta gives a title, Bloodless Sacrifice. So now, as you hear the word term bloodless sacrifice, it refers to some ritual. So the rituals were performed mainly during the Buddha's time by the Brahmins and also other religious communities in different ways. I like to get my PowerPoint out now. I think I have to pause a little bit to get the PowerPoint. Excuse me. I'm sorry, there's a problem here.
Your co-host, aren't you? You can see that. You have been made a co-host.
Yeah, I think I didn't open the file. That is probably the.
You have to re-enter Zoom.
Come. And then පොඩ්ඩක් මේක බලන්න නේද? And I have start. That file I can't locate. So the particular file which has this sorry about it. Okay. Can you hear? I'm sorry, the audience, this is some technical problem. I am not very much used to presenting through the Zoom. Can you all hear me?
Very clear, very clear.
All right, okay. PowerPoint, I'm to begin Kaya. So Kutadanta Sutta, as you see here, there are a lot of sealers. Different kinds of sealers are mentioned in the Kutadanta Sutta. I'm defining sealer according to the literature, especially the Tripitaka, as virtue, right conduct, discipline, restraint, training, like that. And in Buddhism, we find them in our daily life. In our day-to-day life, we follow as sikha. Just now also we read out sikhas. So that means we have to abide by sikhas so that the sila part is completed. When it comes to sila bata, that is a different thing. Sila bata are practiced by various other religious communities, which involves strict adherence to certain behaviors. It also carries with rituals, ceremonies, and other observances. Perhaps you find that Sila Bhatta means different types of behavior. The Buddha, in teachings, the Buddha rejected Silabbata as an area where they are need to be improved. So, in teachings, we find another term, Sila Sangvara. The Sangvara is obeying or restrained conduct. So, restrained conduct within the prescribed norms and adherences in the day-to-day life. So this also we call restrained behavior for individual and social progress. This area in the sutta is very much elaborated. We can see when we discussed the components of the sutta. When you say society, there is no particular mention about society in the sutta, but the questions, the problems faced by the people in the countryside, they are by their profession, they are identified as different groups, maybe farmers, animal keepers, then traders, like that. So Kutadanta Sutta covers the social aspect of day-to-day life of the people. So therefore, I think this study of this sutta, analyzing of this sutta is very important from today's context. So I'll go to the second slide. Again, what is sila? We normally know that it is 5 precepts, 8 precepts for layperson, 10 precepts like that. And this sutta categorizes sila into 3 divisions, 3 groups. One is Chulla Sila. Chulla Sila is covers again habits, customs, rites, rituals, traditions, etc. Those are not so important in developing a change in the behavioral pattern towards gaining higher knowledge or improved discipline. So they are just customs. In our society, we find people follow a lot of these things, but which are not rationally evaluated, and they keep on going in behaving in different ways. So Majjhima Sila is another group of behavior pattern. Those are mainly attached to the religion, different religious practices. This sutta covers a large number of Majjhima Sila under that category, practiced by samanas, paribhajakas, jatilas, and brahmins. I don't want to give a breakdown of this Majjhima Sila and all that. They are, if anyone likes to refer to these silas, can read Kutadanta Sutta, and the section, a long section describes these aspects. The Mahasila part is actually what is Buddha refers to gaining wisdom. Sila, Samadhi, and Prajna. So Mahasila covers Samadhi and Panya in Pali, that needs development of the mind. So I will now focus on the content of the Kutadanta Sutta. Kutadanta Sutta has a Kutadanta Sutta comes up with a background story, that means the meeting of the Buddha and Kutadanta Brahmin, and lately the Buddha is citing a previous story like a Jataka Jataka story to explain what the Buddha wanted to convey. So it is the style of the Buddha that citing some of the past incidents or Buddha's experience or experience from the environment to explain different aspects of the Dhamma. Dhamma, Sila is, we call Dhamma because Sila is the foundation of a change of a person and also a society. So Brahmin Kutadanta has been identified as, since he's a very well learned person, well-versed teacher and having large number of students under him, his one main activity of this teacher was performing sacrificial ceremonies. So where he believed animal sacrifice enhances his wealth, fame, etc. So I think that was one of the belief during this time, and actually it is now continuing even up to now. You find in certain places in different countries like India, in the subcontinent. So the Buddha, when Buddha visited Kutadanta's village, which is it's a prosperous land. Buddha visited maybe in order to help Kutadanta to understand what really importance of sacrificial ceremonies in terms of social development, I would say. The Buddha, so this Kutadanta went to see the Buddha for a purpose. He didn't want to just go and worship the Buddha. He was a teacher since he had been practicing this sacrificial ceremony. He thought he was just not very sure the way he performs these sacrificial ceremonies is the right way. So is there any better way that he could perform this so that his fame and prosperity can be enhanced? So Buddha, he went to Buddha and requested, yes, sir, I like to know specific things. He mentioned 3 types of, offerings, as well as 16 types of requisites. So which are explained in the Sutta in a different connotation. But here I will not explain these 3 kinds of yajna or 16 kinds of requisites. So the Buddha cites the past story in order to explain what he said. Maybe Buddha didn't want to go into the sacrificial ceremonies per se. In order to convince the Brahmin, Buddha cited a story of Mahavijita. So then King Mahavijita's story is the content which I am going to focus in this in my presentation as a government officer, comparing my experience and using it in an analytical way to understand how government policies affect the welfare of the people and the society. So that is what I'm going to do now. The Buddha, the King Mahavijita is a king, emperor who had a large kingdom with many people and wealth and so on. So he used to conduct ceremonies annually involving large number of animals and birds and so forth. The Sutta says that the numbers are in hundreds of goats and sheep and like that. So he when the annual sacrificial ceremony was about to happen, he consulted the ministers. He always did that. He consulted the ministers and wanted to get their support and also to make it a grand affair. So when it was discussed, the ministers of the council, they all praised. They all praised, thinking that okay, that this is a feast time for all of us, and the king throws out large number of uh, dishes and things like that, so that they were waiting for this event in order to enjoy meal and so forth. So I would say the the Sutta says that the ministers were greedy. They were waiting for enjoying a sumptuous meal. I think even we find those who are working with the working close to the ruler or the ruling party or the administration, they like to get more and more things from associating the big boss or the important people. But in this council we find that the Bodhisattva was one of the ministers. He was the chief minister. So here the story begins that the Bodhisattva held a different view. That's what he did. He wanted to bring to the attention of the king that there is a problem taken place, people are agitated. So unrest in the frontier region of this kingdom. Why there is unrest? Because the villagers are not happy. They are having economic problem. They are having no livelihood. So no means of support coming from the rulers. Meaning those days the people toiled the land in order to make produce, and the produce gets to the townships and all that. It's a very preliminary kind of thing. When you compare nowadays, even you find the farmers out there in the villages, they are not very conversant with how to get their inputs and so forth. So similar situation I find in this story also. All these people who are involved in production were affected due to not having enough raw material or enough seed or things like that. So there is a food shortage and hunger. I remember now, recall that Dr. Manori mentioned last time, the hunger. Hunger is the worst disease. When people are in hunger, they will go up to doing anything. They don't look at the they are not considering the repercussions of their this thing. So there had been many much unrest in the villages. So there were looting, theft, destruction, and the Sutta says that this particular situation is a um, uh, a killer. The killer, dasu killer. The word is they become a penance to the people. They become violent and agitating. So everybody is in a very different. They are behaving not as human beings, but in very rough way. So it become unruly. So this social upheaval was to be uh, taken into account by the king. So that is why chief minister's point of view. So he presented the problem to the king, King Mahavira. Policy planning approach. The minister knew that people were agitating due to hunger, due to not having enough livelihood, not having other services, so forth. Therefore, the three things, three interventions, I would say, these are planning principles. Support for farmers. How? By giving seed, implements, the animal keepers to be given the resources like grassland, more land to be reserved for growing fodder, animal breeding, livelihood support for the community until the harvest is ready. So there are two things here. Farmers are given inputs, and it takes maybe gestation period for about maybe 6-7 months. So until that time, people have to live. So therefore, the chief minister's solution includes the livelihood opportunities should be also given during until the harvest is ready. So I would see that this kind of thinking is very dear. Nowadays, we just allocate some money, but after that, we think that everything is ready. But here, the best way of thinking through this chief minister is putting to this sutta that bija bhattang anupadetu. So bija is the seed, bhatta is the food, livelihood, food during the harvest until the harvest is reaped. Anupadetu, to provide. So these are Pali words. I thought these are easy to remember when I say bija bhattang anupadetu, for food for the farmers and animal keepers and so forth. So the second intervention is when the harvest is ready, they have to be taken to move to different places for processing and marketing and so forth. So that that involves trading. So trading, how come traders be promoted? They should be given money, capital. So capital, at that time the government treasury doesn't have much, I think, money form, but barter system must have been taken place. So those who really get whatever the cash or in-kind things, they should be given free of charge to the traders, because traders have to purchase things. And, it is a kind of pabatang. The meaning I looked up in the dictionary. Pabatang means without making a note. So that means the harvest is very important and it should not go waste. Therefore, the traders were promoted by giving whatever so that they would go and purchase the stuff produced by farmers and other people. Then the other third category is to detail the state officials. The state officials are the ones who see to the government policy is being implemented properly. So state officials, for successful implementation, they also are given additional allowances. Bhatta vetanam anupadetu. That means vetana is the salary, bhatta is the living. That means they are also allowed additional resources in order to help that program, those activities to be implemented successfully. I think that this chief minister's solution is a very well-sounded economic planning. Right now, I think in our country, we do not pay much attention to the farmers and also to purchase their produce. And right now we have a different situation where everything has become standstill like. So revisiting this sutta and studying and analyzing will, I think, help us to at least understand things have happened during Buddha's time also. Therefore, how do we overcome things in a more successful way? Let's see the results. So this policy has been successful. Chief Minister his advice has been taken. So the sutta refers to different ways of prosperity which has been attained by the people. So it contributed to a very prosperous, vibrant economy. And the people had enough means so that they were not idling. There was opportunity, lot of opportunities to work and so forth. And then there will be enough food to go around, adequate supply of food. Adults had peace of mind. Then peaceful society. I don't know to explain all that, but I have some notes, but maybe if there are discussions, I would rather pay attention to explain those things. Then safe neighborhood, because there is no scarcity of food or things like that. So people are happy. They don't need to keep their doors closed, doors and windows closed. Then result again is a contented family and prosperous society. I would like to pay attention to this particular Pali phrase there and will explain this. The Janapada is the people. Kheta Janapada. That means very peaceful people. So the economic indicator in economic success led to social success, social calm and quietness. And also the people, when people are calm and quiet, they have enough time to pay attention to their spiritual development. Think about others. Spirituality means, I think, a calmness in mind. So they will not quarrel. So Khemattita Janapada is one way the economic and social development indicator has been decided in this sutta, Khemattita Janapada. Then Akantaka Anupila. So Akantaka kiyanne, so that Akantaka is they are not hurt. They are free from harassment. Akantaka, free from harassment from people. Then Anupila, they are not being worried. They are not being in pain or stress. But they are all Manusa Modamana, they are very happily rejoicing about their gains. And the other thing indicator is Pure Putta Nachanda, means the family peace. So Aparutagara, they keep their doors open, they are very free. And Manye Vihari Santi, that means they are very light, they are not burdened, they are very happy, free, their minds are not in pain. So I think that composite indicator is very important to apply in today's indicators to assess development. Sometimes we talk about so much money has been spent on such and such areas, but we do not really look at how such investments or money had been helpful to alleviate the sorrow, problems, and other difficulties of people. So this Kutadanta Sutta, therefore, I find that it is a man-centered, people-centered policy planning mechanism. We can be adapted this kind of learnings, teachings, and ideas to the current economic planning exercises. And I really went through the slides, and the last one. Sometimes people question in reading in my studies when I get suttas, Tripitaka, people were asking, oh, why this thousands and years ago things, what is the relevance of them today, and so forth. But I really was I was curious to find out actually whether there has been any whether okay, whether there has been any something from here, whether there has been any proof to find out whether the Buddhist teachings had been applied by the kings or the rulers in governance after the Buddha's time. Then I found this Emperor Ashoka's rock edicts. Emperor Ashoka lived after 300 years of the Buddha's passing away, nearly 300 years. And we find in this rock edicts, clear instructions have been given to the government officers how to go about and doing the implementing the government programs. So the particular thing I quote in one of the rock edicts, number 15, I think the number is given below. The instructions given to the senior officials were driven by the father-like affection. Actually, father-like affection is the character of the ruler here, and concern, affection and concern of the king towards the subjects of his empire. Very famous phrase, you know, Save Manuja Me Paja. So, Save, these, the people, all subjects are my children. So that is the feeling. I think all rulers should, you know, be aware, should try to learn and at least and act upon. So even though you are not, not internet connection is uncertain. So I think there's some problem popping up again. Then another proof again in the rock edict number 16. The admonition to the state officials to perform their duties diligently, to reform some of their working habits, carry out their responsibilities with greater loyalty, and not only personally for the greater success for reform administration. So that means not only personally to him, to the person. So this is also a very important phrase to me. As a government officer, I found that, you know, this kind of, you know, clear instructions and very sympathetically driven instructions were not available. They are all, you know, in papers, very dry, very no, I think love, affection in those instructions. So the king Dharmashoka's rock edicts, I think, allows us to learn and read more and apply such information in our day-to-day administration. So this is the these are the PowerPoints I prepared to make this presentation. If there are any questions and comments, I would like to give further, you know, attention to the areas which I have missed, I think. Thank you very much.